Don't just be another foreigner, be a local Laowai.
Hey everyone, I'm Donny Newman, and welcome to Local Laowai, the show that gives you everything you need to know for a smooth transition to life in China. Ever since we've been airing our program, we've been getting a lot of feedback from our viewers. Some of it positive, and, well, some of it asking for our help. Like this letter here.
Dear Donny, I've been working in China for a month now, and I'm attending my first business banquet next week. My Chinese coworkers are trying to tell me about all these rules for attending a banquet, but I'm still so confused. Please help. Rick.
Well, Rick, the bad news is your coworkers are right. There's a whole mess of tradition and etiquette involved with Chinese banquets, especially business banquets. It's like a game being played out between your team and theirs. The good news is, with our help, not only can you get through the banquet, but you can score big time for your team. Here's what you need to know. Today, we're here at the Zhixin Seafood Restaurant in central Beijing. The Local Laowai team and I, over the next few episodes, are going to break down all the cultural intricacies involved with Chinese banquets, starting right here at the front door. Formal business dinners are almost always held in private rooms inside of larger restaurants. When you arrive, either someone from the host party will greet you at the door, or restaurant staff will guide you to the right room. A lot of times, these private rooms will have fancy names like Peony Pagoda or Yellow Swan Tower. If you plan to arrive by yourself, it's a good idea to know the name of the room, just in case. After you arrive at your banquet room, it's time to put your game face on. Let's pretend Teddy here is you. Okay, Teddy, let's see your game face. Ha! Okay, not that kind of game face. I'm talking about Chinese banquet game face. Well, don't overdo it. Perfect. When you first arrive at the banquet room, the host is going to greet you very warmly. Smile, make eye contact, and if you can, use a little bit of Chinese.
你好，很开心认识你。
I'll post some great phrases you can use here on our website. Don't be afraid how you sound. At the very least, you'll score points for trying. After you say hi to your host, the next thing you need to know is don't sit down at the table. Even if your host is asking you to take a seat, don't take the bait. The seating arrangement at a formal Chinese banquet is actually very important, and each spot along the table correlates to an exact position on each team. Confused? Check this out.
Chinese business banquets are like a big game played out by two teams, the hosts and the guests, both vying for that most coveted of prizes, reputation, otherwise known in China as face or 面子. As a general rule, teams are seated in an alternating manner around the table, and each player is more or less responsible for dealing with the opposing team members to their immediate right and left. The most important of all these players is the main host. He always sits opposite the door, so he can take constant surveillance of the entire playing field.
If this were football, he would be the quarterback. The banquet's start, ending, and everything in between all revolves around him.
To his immediate right sits the top-ranking guest. Similar to the main host, he represents his entire team.
He'll be locked in battle with the main host for most of the night, simultaneously trying to entertain one another while also discussing important business matters.
These are the two most important seats of the banquet, and each team will try to protect their numero uno at all costs. Opposite the main host sits his second in command.
As you can see, she strategically sits closest to the door. And if someone tries to sneak out early to pay the bill, they'll have to go by her first.
I have to use the bathroom.
The guest team's number 2 sits to the left of the main host.
Her main job is to protect her number 1. Unfortunately for her, that sometimes means taking one for the team.
After that, the rest of the seats are filled in an alternating manner by members of each team. Don't worry if you get shuffled around before dinner begins. Just go with it and trust your team. They'll know how to best pair you up.
Now that everybody's seated in their respective seats, the host will signal the beginning of hostilities by making his first attack. You ready for this? Don't worry. You can own this battle, and we'll show you how. I'm Donny Newman, and we'll see you next time.
Banquet!
Don't forget to send me your questions at locallaowai@bon.tv and check out our website for all kinds of great Chinese language tips. In the next episode, we'll show you not only how to survive a Chinese banquet, but to help eat, drink, and toast home a victory for your team. All that and more on the next Local Laowai.